Fair. Today we are going to end the beautiful story I made is that it ends a little bit very sad with Michal bat Shaul, but we are in the major event of bringing the Aron to Yerushalayim. Bringing the Aron to Yerushalayim. And this is actually fulfilling the mission of David. David never wanted to be the king, for being the king and to get all the highlights and to go with the crown and to be in all the cocktails and the events. David had a mission in life. He wanted to be the real king of Israel, the king that present God in this world. And can you imagine that he managed to bring Aron Hashem, that for hundreds of years, from crossing the Jordan until this very day, about 400 and something years, did not come to Yerushalayim. And David managed to bring the Aron to Yerushalayim. What a fulfillment of the prophecy of the Torah itself, that eventually the Aron, which is the most important piece of the Mishkan, is going to be in Mekom Menucha. It's going to be in one place forever. And who did it? All over the Jewish history. It's David HaMelech. What a simcha. And therefore we can understand the great simcha and joy that David had. Unfortunately, in the first time it ended up very bad because it was excessive. It was not according to all the requirements of halacha. We spoke about it in the last two classes. But right now, in the second time when he learned the lesson, and he made it not only a national celebration, but a religious celebration, as we saw. For example, in the first time there was no korbanot. The second time there are korbanot. The first time, צריך גם לראות את הקולות. So, the first time, it was במצלצלים, במלעניים, all kind of, the whole band came. Second time, shofarot. It's something that we do on a korban, we do in Rosh Hashanah. This is a religious instrument. You don't find shofarot so much in the symphony, but you do see it in shuls. In Beit HaMikdash it played, excuse me for the pun, a major role in the korbanot, in the shir shel yom. So in the second time that when they bring the Aron to Beit HaMikdash, it's a shofarot, it's not the entire band, because it was different atmosphere. And then something that I would tie to our siyum. So what happened in Pasuk Tetzayin? So, והיה ארון השם בעיר דוד, ומיכל בת שאול נשקפה בעד החלום. מיכל בת שאול was there through the window. Interesting, and someone mentioned it last time. It's not Michal Eshet David. She was the wife of David. She's still Michal bat Shaul. We say it's not Aliyah LaTorah that he called the person after his father. She there in the house of David, but the Tanakh called her Michal bat Shaul. Because in this parak, she's not going to function as David's wife. She's going to function as Shaul's daughter. And it was a huge difference between the two. So she is waiting be'ad hachalom. First of all, we do know from the pasuk of Yutet that men and women, don't tell anybody, were on the streets. How do we know that? Because it says that David gave them gifts, lemeish ve'adisha. So everyone came. So David is there. Where is his wife? She's a real lady. She is a real lady. She's staying in the palace. She's not going to mingle with all the people around. She comes from a royal family. There are rules in a royal family. And she cannot do what her husband is doing, a person who never had the honor to grow in a royal family. Vativez lo beliba. She despised him. She contempt it. ותרא את המלך דוד מפזז ומחרקר לפני השם. ותיבז לו בליבה. We don't find this word, ותיבז, ביזיון, to despise something, בליבה. And by the way, I want to show you something very interesting. Compare this pasuk, Tetzain, to pasuk Yudalet. What is the difference between pasuk Yudalet and pasuk Yudzain? What David did and what Michal saw. Do you see, like, that's the beauty of the Tanakh, like painting a picture with very small strokes, not like the wide ones, but he wants to teach us a lot through the little strokes, the little differences. What do we see here, the differences?
Well, the mefazez.
Right. You see, David, when we describe David only what he did, David mecharker. Mecharker means with the legs. And then what she said, David mefazez umecharker. Mefazez umecharker. Mefazez means with the hands, with all his, all the motions of the guf, from the lashon, mefazez, lazuz, to move, right? So David was mefazez or not?
She looks down at him.
What did that mean?
Like
He wasn't mefazez.
So was he mefazez or not?
he was mefazez, but he was doing it in a joyful.
That's for sure. He was mecharker umefazez. But let me tell you a very important lesson here, which is very, very important. When we don't like something, we exaggerate it. David was mecharker. David was mecharker. But she looked upon the whole scene in a negative way. When we come biased to any event and we see it, and she came biased, how do we know that? Nishkefa be'ad hachalon. She did not see it through the window. She just happened to go, what's going on here? Oh, David, what a shame. Nishkefa be'ad hachalon. She was waiting for him. She wanted to see how he acted. So she came biased. She had the bad feeling that David is not going to behave as a king. And when a person comes biased, he will see not only the mecharker, he will see all kind of other things that even never happened in his or her mind. She will see all the negativity inside it. And therefore, in her eyes, he was not only mecharker, he was also mefazez. Because her perception was just bad and negative, so she added in her mind more to what really happened.
What does mefazer mean?
Mefazez means, Rashi said, with the hands. Mecharker is only with the raglaim.
So they're both dancing.
It's the movement that people who are in ecstasy and in a great joy, they are doing with all their body. See like how people are dancing. And did you see the Berselvers dancing? It's something like this. It's like up, down, up, hands, legs, everything is participating. And Vativez lo beliba, Vativez lo beliba. What a sad thing. ויביאו את ארון השם ויציגו אותו במקומו. By the way, it's a beautiful technique of the Tanakh to take the camera from David and to turn it to Shaul and to go back to David. In our mind, we already want to ask, so what is going to happen at the result? It's not only that the Tanakh is telling us, oh, look at her face. You know, sometimes they show, when you have a concert, you have like 90% of the time it's the artist or the performer, and then they want to show like faces in the crowd, like in joy or disappointed or something like this, how it perceived. So the Tanakh mastered this technique many, many times. He takes the camera from one place to another, and he keeps us, you see, there is a joy, a great joy on the street, but there is one person there who is disappointed. And we think in our mind, so what is going to happen? So the Tanakh is creating this anticipation to what is going to unfold. ויביאו את ארון השם ויציגו אותו במקומו. They put it in its place, in the permanent place. במקומו. After years, hundreds of years, that the Aron just moved from Gilgal to Shiloh, from Shiloh to Nov, from Nov to Givon. Now the Aron is going to be in its place forever. ויציגו אותו במקומו בתוך האוהל אשר נטע לו דוד. Yes, David did not build the house. He want to do it next. We will learn it בעזרת Hashem in the next season. But David made a nice tent for the Aron to be in ירושלים. ויעל דוד עולות לפני השם ושלמים. And he brings קורבנות. עולות, עולה is to Hashem. שלמים, the meat is given to the Kohanim and to the people who bring the Korban. So it was a joy, a religious one, but also a national one. ויכל דוד מהעלות העולה והשלמים. He finished with this one, which give us, by the way, the word ויכל means he finished, but it reminds us, obviously, the word ויחולו השמיים והארץ, right? Its end. And now it's time for Kedusha, because what happened in Vayichulu? In Vayichulu, Hashem infused Kedusha to our life, to the world. Vayichal David is the same idea. By bringing the Aron, he infused Kedusha to the place, to Yerushalayim, to the Beit David. ויברך את העם בשם השם צבקות. And we mentioned before, David here does not behave as a king. He behaves as a Kohen, which was a major change from Shaul. I mentioned it last time. Shaul saw the Kohanim competitors of the king. What happened in Nov, Ir Kohanim? He shech them all. And it's not only because he suspected them to help David. The reason was that Shaul, overall, saw that the king is above anything else. The Kohanim is a different authority. And as I said, in many cultures, in many nations, the king and the priests are one against the other. It's not a wonder, for example, that at the time of the Hashmonaim, who were basically Kohanim, they also claimed the kingdom. Because this is a perfect situation. You are not going to be in fight with their religious authority, because your authority is a secular one, or the king is not competing with the priest, with the Kohen. So what did they do? They took not only the Kehuna, but also the kingdom, which was a great mistake. The Torah itself had a completely different view. There is one authority that has to handle the life of Am Yisrael. This is the king, but the Kohanim have their own authority. They handle the religious life of Am Yisrael, and the king, in many, many ways, has to go to the Kohen to ask the Urim V'Tumim. Before he go to a war, he asks his advice. So the king have always to remember that there is a higher authority, the authority of Hashem, made by the Kohanim. What David is doing here, he is telling the people, when it comes to Avodat Hashem, I'm not the king, I'm like anyone else. Because each one of us is subject to keep the mitzvot of Hashem. And therefore, he said, now I'm not the king, I am actually serving Hashem. And therefore, he gives them the bracha that usually the Kohanim gives. ויחלק לכל העם, לכל המון ישראל, מאיש ועד אישה, לאיש חלת לחם אחת, ואשפר אחד, ועשישה אחת, וילך כל העם איש לביתו. What a beautiful end. Exactly like this. He take lechem, he take eshpar. According to Chachamim, it was like a nice piece of meat. You know, if you go to buy today a piece of rib, it's $100. He gave like a quarter of a cow to every person to take home. This was amazing. והשישה אחת, it's like half a ram. Some people say that it's even more. וילך כל העם איש לביתו. Why did he give such a lavish meal to everyone to carry home? What is the point here? It's exactly the point that we do here. It's important to create kind of similarity or identification between Torah and food. Because food we understand instantly that we cannot live without food. Less the Torah. Not everyone understands that life with no Torah, with no spiritual value, are not really life. So when we give food in a simcha, we send two messages. Number one, the Torah for us is like the food for the body. But we combine out of a body and the neshama. The food and the great food is for the body, and Torah is for the neshama. Number one. Number two, this equation is not so simple. Remember what happened in the beginning of the Perek with Aron Hashem? A person died because he touched the Aron. In the mind of people, as I told you before, there is association between Aron Hashem, the Shekhinah, the Mishkan, and death. This was the instant image that people, Aron Hashem, no. What David HaMelech himself said, I don't want the Aron in my house. I'm too afraid of it. Only when they brought to Beit Oved Edom Magiti and they saw that actually the Aron is a source of bracha. As I told you, everyone became pregnant in their house and everyone had children. According to Chachamim, he had 8 daughters. Each one of them had 6 children in one pregnancy. 48, Eniklach, within 9 months. Where the grandmother, I'm sure she had lots of work. So, but I mean, it was abundance. So David wanted everyone to go home, back to his children, to his family, and to tell them that, you see, that's what I brought. The being a part of this simcha of bringing Aron Hashem is not chas v'chalila a risky thing. If you do it properly, it's a source of bracha. Here is the food. And I'm sure that many people got like incredible food that maybe they didn't see for a long time. So this association between the gifts of food and bringing the simcha from the Mishkan or the Ohel or the Aron Hashem back to the house created this association that indeed Aron Hashem is a source of life and not the opposite. I want to say one more thing which is very, very important, and we can learn maybe something from it. Giving bracha, and we know people are going to tzaddikim to ask for brachot, and it is important minhag, and historically, like people always went to old people, Talmidei Chachamim, to ask for bracha. Well, what is the idea here? If you will be in a Sephardic Brit, you will see the Sandak, everyone come to the Sandak, give me a bracha, give me a bracha, give me a bracha. What is the issue? Like by the Ashkenazim, they don't do it, but in the Sephardic, everyone will throw himself on the Sandak, please give me a bracha. Well, what is the Sandak have to do with the bracha? You see, the issue is very simple. Hashem gives the brachot. The Kohanim, they don't give the bracha, they just the pipe to send the bracha of Hashem through the Kohanim to the nation. Ko tevarchu et bnei Yisrael amor lahem. Yevarechecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. It's all about Hashem. But we, the Kohanim, are giving the bracha to Am Yisrael. The idea is that everyone who participates with Hashem, is a partner of Hashem, gets some of the power of God to give brachot to others. The Kohanim, they bring the korbanot, they represent God and His rituals, So Hashem give them the power, the same brachot that He can give the people, He give it to His partners, the Kohanim. A person became a sandak, he became part of the idea of bringing a Jew to the world. So Hashem give him the power to give brachot to others. Basically, everyone who is doing mitzvah, who is mekadesh Shem Shamayim, he gets some of the power of Hashem Himself to give brachot to others. Sometimes it's good to know it. And what David said, you became partners of Hashem. You helped to bring the Aron to Yerushalayim. You became partners of Hashem. So I want you to spread the bracha to your household, to give it to everyone. And therefore He gave them this magnificent gift to take home and to spread the bracha, so to speak, to others. Until today, if you go to a Hasidic Tish, you have this minhag of shirayim. The Rebbe is giving like food and people are jumping and then trying to catch it. You think you saw sometimes in a baseball game, like one of the ball is going to the people are jumping. You have to see like a real Hasidic Tish in Belz, in Vishnitz, in these places. People will kill each other just to grab a piece of meat, an apple, whatever it is. The idea is, again, without judging it, and it's a different culture, it's the idea of like, this is a source of bracha. Like being close to Torah and Yirat Shamayim and greatness or closeness to Hashem is a source of bracha. And that's exactly what David HaMelech is doing.
Can we go back? I'm sorry.
Yes?
Can we go back to Pasuk Tes Zayin? What's Michal doing in this whole
We will
story?
see. She's just watching.
No, I know, but it's out of context. You've got a Hachnos Sefer Torah, you've got a nice storyline, and she's stuck in the middle here.
You see, the reason why they did it is to keep you in this suspense. Why the Tanakh, for 1 second, removed the camera from David and all the people around to Michal? And they were successful. You are intrigued by this. And that's exactly what
And
the
the
purpose
answer
of
is?
it. Wait a second, you will see. You will see.
Stay tuned.
So,
I have a question.
yes.
You said that David, by giving out the food made and doing the carbonat and blessing the people, he is showing that he's also ruled by the Kohanim. But isn't he, in a sense, there is no Kohen there. He's taken over, he's usurping their power.
You're right. In Divrei Yamim it said that he brought actually Kohanim for the second time. It does not mention in Shmuel, because the reason in Shmuel, as I say, this perek is more to build his power. So he already came to Yerushalayim, he established his family in Yerushalayim. The story of bringing Zaharon in Shmuel is more a national story rather than a religious story. In Divrei Yamim, there is more description of the religious side of it, and it mentioned there that, for example, the Levim took the Aron, and all this event actually is done by David and the Kohanim. So you're right, but in Shmuel, it's more like focusing on the acts of David to establish his kingdom in Yerushalayim. So it's a slightly different angle. But you're right, indeed it was the Kohanim that did it. Vayelech kol ha'am ish lebeito. Now we know that in the Torah, in the Nevi'im, beito is not only the four walls, beito, the mishpacha. Bait is mishpacha, especially the wife. Beito do ishto. It says, for example, by the Kohen Gadol on Yom HaKippurim, v'chiper ba'ado u'be'ad beito, Chazal say, beito zot ishto, to the point that the Kohen Gadol, that for some reason has no wife, cannot serve as the Kohen Gadol in Yom HaKippurim. Because the Kedusha, and this is a very important idea, the Kedusha of Am Yisrael is actually the relationship inside the family. Because how do we experience Kedusha? No one is going like, the Christian images of the saints is someone with something around, like an aura around his head. We don't believe in this kind of thing. Kedusha means the house, the way you eat, the way you behave with your wife, with your family. This is the essence of Kedusha. And therefore, the Kohen Gadol cannot do the greatest service of Yom HaKippurim, even if he's such a tzaddik and unbelievable person, if he doesn't live with a wife. So by the way, the Mishnah, the first Mishnah in Masechet Yoma, suggests that every Erev Yom Kippur, if the Kohen had only one wife,
Gets another.
they married him a second one, just in case, if something is going to happen to the first. So Chachamim say to Rabbi Yehuda, who came with this interesting idea, that I'm sure the wives loved a lot, they said, well, if you are afraid that one will die, why not two? And actually I would say if there are two, it's more likely that they will fight. So they said, no. They said, we are not like in panic that people might die just before Yom Kippur. So they kept him with one wife. As I said, it was maybe even safer this way. But the idea is that really the Kedusha of Am Yisrael is in the Jewish house. And who said it more nicely than Rabbi Akiva himself? Ish ve'isha zachu, shchina beinehem. Lo zachu, esh ochatam. Which means if husband and wife have the zchut, then shchina beinehem. Because if you take the word ish and isha, you have esh in both of them, and you have yud in one and hey in the other one. So when they are together and they live, and they're supposed to live, then the yud and the hey are connected, and you have the shchina, which is basically what happened in the Mishkan. The Mishkan is a place of Hashrat Shechina. Lo zachu, there is no Yud and Hey. You are left with fire, with Esh ochalta. So David sent the gift, Ish lebeito, bring it to your home. Make sure that your wife also enjoy it if she didn't come to Yerushalayim, if your children could not come to Yerushalayim. I want you to take this Kedusha and this joy to your house to build a better Mishkan, not only in Yerushalayim, but in your private house. Vayashov David levarech et beito. Can you imagine, like, just try to get into the mind of David. This is very, very important. David gave every person, he sent them home, he blessed them, he apparently guided them to go to the house and to be there, like, joyous and happy about what happened. And the king now is going to his house to meet the children he had. Remember, in the beginning of the parak, we already learned that he had many children that were born already in Yerushalayim. He had few wives. He comes to give a bracha to all of them. ותצא מיכל בת שאול לקראת דוד. And Michal, see him coming back, that the event is over. He comes back to his home, and she goes outside. Why didn't she did it at home? Why didn't she was waiting at home to rebuke him? Because what she's going to do is to rebuke him.
She want to do it publicly.
She wants it private.
That's right. Because she was indeed a royal lady. You don't do these things in the house in front of other people. So she was very appropriate. She wanted to meet him in private. Which even in the shades, we have to see the beauty and the greatness of this lady. But תצא מיכל בת שאול, again, she's the daughter of Shaul, לקראת דוד. ותאמר, מה נכבד היום מלך ישראל? Oh, you were so honored. אשר נגלה היום לעיני אמהות עבדיו. You revealed yourself today in front of your maids and your slaves. כהיגלות נגלות אחד הריקים. Like a peasant, like a simple person. Such a sarcasm. Like it's not even passive aggressive, it's just like giving him. Said, shame on you. You are the king of Israel? That's the way a king of Israel behaves? And in order to understand the entire sentence, let's analyze like word by word. First of all, you see there is one word that repeats itself, or sure, that repeats itself 3 times. What is it? Nigla, right. Legalot, to reveal. Now, you know that what she meant was that apparently when he danced, what happened? Like the sleeve is going this way, The robe is going a little bit up and you can see the legs. So it's leigalot. You show sometimes even more private parts of your body, which is completely inappropriate for the king of Israel. That's true. What the Torah says about the Mizbeach. The Mizbeach cannot be on steps. You don't climb on the Mizbeach on staircase. It has to be like a ramp. What the Torah said, why? Velo tigale ervatcha alav. When you come to the service of God, the Mizbeach, I'm sure that there were many people who would love to run to bring the korban as fast as they can. Now, when you raise your leg and you step upwards, then you just open a little bit the gap between the legs. This is already gilui erva. It's gilui erva. When it comes to Mizbeach, to korbanot, it's inappropriate. So the word legalot is already by the Torah, is a word of a very low point. Velo tigale ervatcha alav. We have the Gilui Arayot. The Torah calls the whole parsha of Kedusha in the family relationship, violation of it, Velo tegale erva, or ervat aviv gila, ervat amo gila, imo gila. Legalot something means the inner side and not the nicer side. So when she said you are megale yourself, she means to say, and the Torah described the shoresh of Gilui at a very low point. That's the point that you reached today. Keigalot niglot achad harikim. Now, for us, galot achad harikim, we can explain like a simple person, Adam reik. But she was smart. She chose this word very carefully. Do you remember who were the people that joined David when he ran away from Shaul? It was not the elite of the people. This was not like the higher echelon of society. Who were the people? Remember what the Tanakh is telling us about them? Anashim pochazim vereikim. He managed to get all the people who ran away from the tax collector, all the people who ran into all kind of fights, people who were dismissed by their family, all the low people. And what she said when she used a word like this, ke'achad harikim, she said, basically you did never become a king. You just stay the same person that you were when you were the leader of these peasants. You never matured to be a real king. She knew exactly the chord to hit. What she said is, you are not my father. And we are going to see that this is an incredible statement. You are a leader of the same people that you ran away from my father. Pochazim, reikim. And the way you behave today just proved it to me. As I said, that's why Michal is named Michal bat Shaul. She was not Eshet David. She was a daughter of Shaul. You know, when Shaul sinned and did not kill Amalek as he was required by Shmuel, there is one pasuk that the Tanakh is telling us what Shaul did and what Shmuel was expecting him to do. Shmuel was expecting him to meet after what he did to rebuke him, but Shaul did not show up. The Sefer in Shmuel Aleph that we didn't learn this part, Shmuel is going to Carmel le'atziv lo yad. He built a monument to his honor. Metziv lo yad means he established a monument in order to respect, to honor himself. It was a very important war against the Plishtim. He was victorious, and he wanted to build a nice monument that everyone will remember it. It was about his kavod, his honor. And for Shmuel and for Shaul, this was kind of a major part of understanding the melucha. Remember, and it's even hard to blame him. He was the first king. His understanding of a king means a person who is above anyone else. And everyone has to recognize his authority. And that's why he became so obsessed with the story of David. When the girls sang to Shaul, היכה שאול באלפיו ודוד ברבבותיו, he took it to his heart. This was something that like lowered his status. And from there on, it was such a tragedy. He ran after David. It was his kavod. And Michal grew up in this house. And she was also obsessed with this kavod to the king, to the house of the king. And it might be that it was for a good reasons, because Shaul was not just like someone who wanted to show up. That's what his understanding of the idea of Melech Israel. And David got it right away. David cut all the discussion here. And by the way, this is the only discussion that goes between Michal and David, something that we will discuss in a second. ויאמר דוד אל מיכל, לפני השם. The first word that she hears from him is Lifnei Hashem. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The whole thing is Lifnei Hashem. Do you understand that? It's not about the king. It's Lifnei Hashem. Asher bachar bi me'avich u'mikol beito. Do you know why I'm the king and not your father? Exactly because of that. Because this attitude. Because you have to understand what happened here. It was not an accident that your father lost the melucha. It was not just like, a shift of events that I became the king. This is the whole thing. The difference between your father and me, that's the reason, or that's the most important thing for a king of Israel. לצוות אותי נגיד על עם Hashem. This is not another nation, it's עם Hashem. And your father did not understand it. He never understood that the king is a servant of the Am and servant of Hashem. ושיחקתי לפני Hashem. Yes, I can be משחק לפני Hashem, because when it comes to Hashem, there is no place for this like fancy rules of the king and all the procedures. It's לפני Hashem. He starts his words, לפני Hashem אשר בחר בי ושיחקתי לפני Hashem. He frames the whole answer in, you just don't get it. It's לפני Hashem. Because your father indeed, first of all, it was me. Maybe behind it there was a thought, לפני Hashem. But by me, I act as a person who served לפני Hashem. I'm the servant of God. And as a servant goes before his master, I am always going before Hashem. Yes.
Yeah, so what we have here, the first time Hashem warned the people, he said, you're going to asking for a king. Remember, when you ask for a king, this is what the king will do. So you have Shaul, the first king, who's doing this. Now you have David, the second one. He's coming and showing. This is exactly what Hashem said.
That's
These
going
were
to
his
happen.
words. Right. This is exactly what he told the people. If
Right.
you,
נכון. But Shaul took it
but
seriously.
it's not that David didn't take it seriously.
No, I mean he took seriously the
Yes,
authority
exact-
over the
exact-
shlichut. Right,
exactly.
you're right. You're right.
Exactly.
Right. What a tragedy. Oh, okay, so can you imagine David comes so excited from the celebration before Hashem, and he get like this miklachat on his head from his wife, and
From a wife.
it was a cooling moment, obviously.
Yeah.
But in the same
He answered
the
back.
same time, a very revealing moment. A moment that actually is going to explain us why David became the king, and from Shaul, nothing was left. This is the tragedy of it. Because you have to understand. You know, if you remember, at the end of Shmuel Aleph, there was kind of a covenant between Yonatan, the son of Shaul, and David. There was a covenant that David is going to be the king. Yonatan realized that David is supposed to be the king. He asked him to be his Mishneh. I will be second to you, which was fantastic because he was the son of the king, but he realized that David has it, he does not have it. Can you imagine what if David would be the king, Yonatan or one of the children of Shaul will be the deputy. You have the Shevet of Yehuda, Leah. You have the Shevet of Yosef, Binyamin, the children of Rachel, together leading the entire nation. This could be so magnificent, avoiding so many clashes that later happened when the kingdom was split between Israel and Judea. Yonatan thought that this is going to be the ideal situation, and maybe it could. What if Michal and David had a child, and this child will become the next king? This will be so fantastic. The grandchild of Shaul, the son of David, the next king. You bring the best of all the worlds into one person. The tragedy that happened in this parak explains why it never happened. Because it was not two houses with two different, I would say, emphasizing certain things. This was two different hashkafot, what a king is. And therefore, our parak ends with such a terrible tragedy. Let's just see the psukim before we go to explain it. So we say to her, Unekaloti od mizot. You think that I reached a low point? I will tell you something. I wish I could reach even a lowest point, what you call a lowest point. Ve'ayiti shafal be'inai. Because I feel good about what I did, but I would be very, very happy if I would say, whoa, you just crossed few red lines. With this maid that you say it was pasnished, it was like not nice enough to be with them, imami kaveda. This will be my greatest honor, that I am a servant of God like they are your servants. I would be excited if people would say David is like the maid to Hashem, like these people, which came normally from a very low point, they are our maids and slaves. And what is the reaction? ולמיכל בת דוד לא היה לה, ולמיכל בת שאול לא היה לה ילד עד יום מותה. She never had a child. Chachamim softened it a little bit and they said that she died when she gave birth. Ad yom mota, lo haya la yeled. But in the day that she died, she had a child. Okay, this is a drasha of Chachamim. But she did not, according to the psukim, and I told you, I love first of all to learn the pshat, she did not have a child. Let me ask you a question. How do you understand this pasuk? How do you understand it? Why she did not have a child? Yes?
I think that was the end of their relationship.
The pshat is, when you read it, that Hashem punished her for that. Which makes sense, because she did not realize that it was lifnei Hashem. Like, actually not disliking David is actually disliking Hashem. Because what did he do? He respected Hashem. So disrespecting David is disrespecting God. So the pshat of the words is that David was, that Hashem punished her for it.
It's almost as if Michal keeps being referred to as Bat Shaul. So it's more of an emphasis as the line of Shaul is done.
נכון מאוד. And therefore, I think that you're right. The Tanakh will not say he never slept with her again. It's not respectful to the king. But that's what happened. David at this point saw that he doesn't want a child for Michal. He doesn't want. Because the child of Michal will continue something that should cease. This philosophy, what a kingdom should be like. And as we said, in many, many cases, when you finished with one house or dynasty, you killed everyone. David did not kill them, but he stopped them. He stopped them. He never had relation anymore with Michal.
It's interesting you say he didn't have a relationship with her. What makes you think she wanted to have a relation with him?
Yeah, but women didn't have a say in those days.
Oh, is that right?
That's number one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She did not have any say about it. Number one. Number two, I'm going to explain it from her point of view in a second. It's important. So I'm happy that you raised it, and 12 minutes will be, I think, enough to explain this one. So, you know, the answer of David to Michal was very sharp. Very, very sharp. In the mind of Michal, David was the better part of her father. I want to remind you, we talk negatively about Michal, but you know that Michal saved the life of David. Remember? How? Remember how?
With the trafim that she put.
The trafim, she put it in her bed, and what did she do with David? She opened the window and let him go through the window. Do you see the connection? Mibad lachalon, the same expression. When she saved the life of David, she gave him to go through the chalon. And now when she ended the relationship with David,
Saw it through the.
is through the chalon. When she sees him through the chalon. That's a whole tragedy, like framed from one chalon to another. And think about the word chalon. The word chalon comes from the word halal. Chalon, halal. There was a void. There was a void. This chalon created a void between her and David. Because the way she understood it all the time is, my father was obsessed, but he was a great man, and he was. David, if he would know David, if he would just overcome his envy and jealousy, he would bring David into the house. David is the best image of my father. That's the way she looked upon him. And what happened here, she saw that she had a mistake. He was not a better version of her father. He was a very different person than her father. And she never could leave her father. I'm not a psychologist, but we spoke a lot about Yonatan. Yonatan was so close to David. David in his kina said, Na'amta li achi Yonatan me'avat nashim. A love which is unusual one. But Yonatan, when it came between his father and David, who did he join?
His father.
His father. In the house of Shaul, and we must assume that Shaul was such a great person, the children sided not with the husbands, with their father. And we know that this situation creates complexities, right? So in this situation, it's like the epitome of it, siding with the father. And what David said, you have a big mistake, because I know what you think. You think that I became the king because I am the son-in-law of Shaul. Wrong. I became a king when I'm not the son-in-law of Shaul. And I have nothing to do with him. And with you. That's what he said to her, basically. The Tanakh does not try it, it does not cry it, but he said, "Lemichal bat Shaul lo haya la yeled ad yom mota." That means, David said, and it's over. We have no relationship anymore. Because I don't want a child from you. I'm very, very concerned how this child, what is his philosophy, is going to be raised by you. Very sad. You know, there is a famous story that Clinton, before it's apparently a true story, before he was elected, he goes with Hillary. And they come to a gas station, and the person, the owner of the gas station, is a friend from the college time of Clinton and his wife. And he comes and says, "Oh, it's so nice to meet you after so many years." And after, they had a nice chat with him, Clinton said to Hillary, you see how good it's that you married me? Because if you would marry him, you will be the owner of a gas station. Now you're going to be the wife of the President of the United States. So she told him, if I would marry him, you would be a gas station owner, and he will be the president. So, in a way, when I read the end of this, that's exactly the debate between David and Michal. You think, but the other way around, you think that because I married you, I became the king. Big mistake. I became the king because I departed from your ways and your father's ways. As he said, לפני השם אשר בחר בי מאביך ומכל ביתו. Now, who is ביתו of Shaul at this point? It's only Michal. And think about the word umikol ביתו. Mikol reminds you of something? Mikol?
Michal?
Michal. Michal, because the Tanakh is not punctuated. So Mikol and Michal are quite similar. So she usdin with like אנשים פוחזים וריקים, he give their back. ביתו, the only one from ביתו is you, ומכל ביתו. From you too. But now I want to talk about something that you raised, and I think it's very important, even to our life. I want to remind you how Michal came back to David.
She was married to another guy.
She was married to another guy. After David departed, left, her father gave her to Palti ben Laish.
Yes.
When David was offered the kingdom by Avner, what was the first
He
condition?
wanted Michal.
He wanted Michal. Now, what do you think, upon first glance, why you wanted Michal? And I'll tell you something. What you think is exactly what Michal thought.
To be a king, so that people
Well,
will accept him.
Here,
That's the status.
what she thought in her mind, what do you think? Why David want her to be on his side?
Because I'm the daughter of the king, and people will accept me.
You know, this is too sophisticated. I would say, after I was taken from him unfairly by my father, he really loves me. He wants me back. Big mistake. He never wanted her for this. He was sophisticated, as you suggested.
Was the status.
The first thing he wanted Michal for is the political card. He had the daughter of Shaul. From now on, not Palti ben Laish, not any person, other person will say what happened many times. We mentioned already the Tish. You can read, if you read enough, and I hope not, the Haredi communication, what happened in the Chatzerot of Hasidim. And Baruch Hashem, today we have few thousands of them, so you can read about one Chatzer every single day. You know, the Rebbe died, there is a fight between the son-in-law and the son, and each one, of course, what is the result? Each one build his own Chatzer, and this is going to become the Vishnitzer of Bnei Brak, and this is the Vishnitzer of Lod, and this is the Vishnitzer of Haifa, and the Vishnitzer of Brooklyn, and the Vishnitzer of Monsey. And you have like so many Admorim. They split, they fight, they each one go to his place. David was afraid of something like this. That, this flame, little flame of Shaul, will ignite one day. Well, one day will be bigger. He did not want any continuation to the house of Shaul. Now, as long as he could control it, this was nice. But in this story, he saw that he cannot control it. And actually, the Tanakh is telling us that. We did not pay attention because I wanted to talk about it in this shir. Remember what the Tanakh is telling us about her husband, Palti ben Laish?
He was walking
He
behind
goes
her.
after her and he's crying. He's crying. Why the Tanakh is telling us that? To make it a Hollywood movie? It was an emotional issue. The Tanakh want to disturb us. That this step of David, to take his wife, if she was, halachically we discussed, there is lots of discussion about it, but let's assume that indeed Palti ben Laish could have her for certain reasons. David disturbed it. And David did it as a cruel calculation. I want to control the remnant of Beit Shaul. Never loved her. The only time that he talked to her is this time, and it was not a pleasant conversation between husband and wife.
I'm afraid it was a lover's marriage.
And when you have this kind of political calculations, it's not going to end well when it comes to relationship between husband and wife. It never works. It never works. And I tend to believe that apparently he showed her a cold shoulder from the time she came. He gave her she was smart and she understood that he took her for political reasons, not because he loved her. And remember, he already had a few children from different wives. She became like from their wife to our wife, right?
But
And she got it. Let me just complete the idea here. But maybe he's busy, maybe he married other women for, political reasons because he want to establish his family in Yerushalayim, etc. And then she saw through the window. And she see this person who behaved to her like a cold fish. Like jumping, dancing, excited, smiling, giving gifts to everyone. How did she feel about it? With everyone he's so nice. With everyone he's giving gifts. He's like dancing. He's jumping. And when he comes home with me, he's a very different person. And in a way, she take her anger and she give it to him. And this was actually a departing act. Because it was clear that from her side and from his side, there are no relations here. ולדוד לא היה לה ילד עד יום מותה. ולמיכל בת שאול לא היה ילד עד יום מותה. It's the end of relationship and the end of Malchut Shaul. So this parak told us how David established himself in Yerushalayim, but the end is, and now, after Shaul was killed, his 3 children was killed, Mephibosheth was killed, now the last remnant was not killed, but paralyzed by David himself. למיכל בת שאול לא היה ילד עד יום מותה. Yes.
But he came home by Shem David levarech et beito. Like he came home very happy. Like he didn't come home upset. Like he wanted to bless her. He wanted to.
Maybe it was not so clear until this point where Michal stood. If she would accept him and, come to learn to live with him as a king, as a different person, maybe he would not be upset. And Beito, by the way, they say, the Tanakh is telling us that he had another 6 wives since he came to Yerushalayim. All of them mentioned in the beginning of the parak. It's sad. Bekitzer. It's sad, but apparently, as I said, some things are necessary, and it's sad when it happened this way.
Yeah, but from the way you're describing it, it sounds like before he even came back, the relationship between them was not totally her fault. He was already, he took her like that for political reasons. The breakdown was between them was.
I completely agree with you, and I say the reason why the Tanakh describes such an emotional thing that the first husband is crying is to criticize David. It was not the right thing to do. It was, sometimes you have to think about the deeper emotions. So David, on one hand, was a master of politics. He calculated the situation very well. But the Tanakh, the way he writes the story about taking back Michal Bat Shaul is like part of and think about it. It's like a part of negotiation. He never say to Avner, bring me back Michal Bat Shaul because I love her so much. No, he just say, give it back to me. And it's quite clear because she's Michal Bat Shaul and I need the people of Beit Shaul to be under my wings and not independent. So it's quite clear that the Tanakh does not like or does not sympathize with this mahalach of David. Yes. Aboisai, on this sad note, Again, I want to thank you for a wonderful year, and hopefully we will see each other בבריאות and בשמחה in the next